Extra, extra, read all about it. Welcome to the Empires Recap, and today we'll be going over the chaos and drama of our somewhat respected rulers.
Taking over the world is an ambitious goal for Mayor Lizzie, but an opportunity has shown itself that will provide an excellent path for expansion. King Scott's rule asks for a representative build in Chromia, and if she can get him to sign away part of his land for this project, the expansion can begin. Scott does sign off on it, so now the problem is exactly what to build. It may only be one chunk wide, but she does get from bedrock to build height. Animalia is going vertical. That doesn't mean it'll be ugly though, of course not. She doesn't want any reason for the king to be digging deeper. She decorates the tower with signature Animalia style, with each level signifying another Animalian district. To make this truly a one-chunk city for her citizens, the place must be functional. She adds rooftop farmland and some bees before going inside and decorating every floor.
We have the kitchen here, where all the food for the villagers is cooked. And then they sleep, obviously. Don't look at the human ones, they're not real.
All of her different villagers are going to need space to live. Now the land is hers, she's not just going to use it for some villagers. Scott made the mistake of showing her Chromia's geothermal crystals, so this seems like the perfect place to build a lava farm. Gathering the initial lava is quite resource heavy on the buckets, but luckily her froggy villagers will sell her buckets of cod en masse. You just have to make sure not to tell them what she did with the cod.
Uh-oh. Oh no. It's a sad day for the cod community. There! I got the lava, and nobody had to die. Except for all the cod.
As the new ruler of the server, Scott's Major spends some time setting out borders in his empire for his fellow rulers. Remembering back to last week, these plots are for the king's rule, that every emperor must have an embassy or a similar building built in Chromia. Mayor Lizzie stops by to have Scott sign off on a contract handing over the parcel of land to Animalia. She's trustworthy. Well, more trustworthy than some people. A few days later reveals that a large number of builds have risen in Chromia. It's mildly surprising that so many have followed the rules. Tumbletown leaves a TNT wagon, which is not a safety risk at all. Thank God Chromia doesn't have OSHA, though. The previous ruler, Pix, leaves a froglight tree, dropping froglights across Chromia. It's probably one of the only builds that actually fits in with the aesthetic. The Allapeligan Empire leaves an interesting statue with a musical surprise. The Goblin contribution has something against people, or possibly just movement in general, given that it looks amazing but screams whenever you get too close. Animalia has just made a mini-city in Chromia. Lizzie's truly making herself at home. Several Animalian villagers have moved into the new build already. Scott might have to just start making them pay taxes. Stratos' contribution is very typical of Joel, but perhaps less representative of Stratos as a whole. He does like his own face too much. Sanctuary has provided a dance studio, complete with music, and a pole, which is all very fitting for Sanctuary. Catherine, Jem, and Joey are the final rulers left to make their mark. Shelby has claimed an area with intent, even if she hasn't yet built anything, and Faust gets a pass as she probably doesn't even know the crown exists. Scott may now have a collection of builds from the other emperors, but he still wants to fill up his collection rooms. He shuffles through his chests and brings out a series of items he's collected throughout time. He hangs them all in the collection room, including the crown, which may not be the smartest of ideas given that the room doesn't even have glass in its windows. Turning his attention to some odd creatures, his mysterious book instructs him on how to collect some rare animals. Never one to pass up an opportunity, Scott takes on the task of finding a mushroom. 7,000 blocks later, and Scott gets the mushroom struck with lightning in the right place. Hopefully the reward is worth the struggle. A few surprises are back in Chromia for him, but not from the mysterious creatures. It's Jem's build, a very modest little house, and the fact that the crown is gone.
Being a ghost is, surprisingly, not so bad.
Being a ghost isn't the most concerning result of the Tea Party for Pixel Riffs, it's the tools he lost while everyone was trying to stall his murder. And he'll need new tools to bring a piece of the ancient capital to Chromia, as commanded by King Scott. In the meantime, though, he might as well get a little haunting in.
Ooh, you will be visited by the spirits of 3 episodes!
Oh, no, it's too late for that now, it's too late.
Ollie knows that even dead, Pix is still handy with redstone, and also happy to help with the musical gift the bard is bringing the new king. His missing things included his ender chest, unfortunately, and there does not seem to be a single one in all of Chromia, not even in Pearl's home, though she did have a slightly more solid version of Pix's head. Pix helps Ollie work out an off switch for the music box, and reenacts his own death with Squip's help for a break. By the time he sets out to find his own plot, however, the off switch is still on, so he claims the furthest spot away from the noise before heading back to retooling himself. After falling in lava and losing everything, again, Pix has to head back to the end for another elytra, and runs into something very strange.
I found one that hadn't been. But as I was pillaring up to that End City ship, I found this. And I have no idea what this is. And this was just out here, 4,000 blocks out in the end, and I have zero idea what it's doing here.
The beehive is hollow and holds no answers, and very few bees at this point. Befuddled, Pixelriff gears up to head back into the nether to retrieve any tools that didn't burn in the lava, with the fire resist potion this time. This involves rockets, so he tops up at Gem's raid farm, because at this point there's so many places to get gunpowder on the server that it wouldn't matter if Jimmy never restocked. He flies back to the burning nook, and it seems the crown's curse is finally lifted. His elytra didn't actually burn. One less thing to grind re-enchanting. Tools in hand, Pix heads back to Chromia and finds Jimmy's wagon build in the spot he'd selected, the sheriff's first real act of villainy. Undeterred, Pix picks another place to plant a genuine froglight tree, complete with a few surprises around the roots. He also stays in the local inn and makes use of the suggestion box.
Few suggestions in here already. I'm going to say more ender chests, fewer creepers.
Finally returning to the capital, Pix pulls up more ghosts of the past in the form of schematics, though they don't stay as incorporeal as him for long. The gatehouse towers are indicative of the kind of environmental storytelling Pixelriffs is going for, scorched by fireballs from a long ago siege. There's even a few remaining guard towers for the parkour intended to find their way into, though any rewards within are long since lost or looted. He also takes the time to point out how dark things actually are when you're not making a YouTube video. In moody lighting, the towers take on a foreboding and deep shadow. Unfortunately, it also makes the catacombs practically impossible for viewers to see in, so Pix is keeping the lighting bright for now. A considerate spirit he is. There's one more unfinished tower rising, the Sanctum, planned to become an apiary. Convenient, considering King Scott has fallen, and King Gem's first decree is bees for all. Wonder if this ghost can see more than just the past. Wait, wrong season!
Into the past is exactly where Sausage has put his fight with his evil self. Things have calmed down in Sanctuary considerably since his evil self merged into one with him, and now Sausage has less to worry about, which means he can get on with some royal tasks. King Scott has demanded each empire to build something to represent them in Chromia. Sausage arrives to pick a plot, and after grabbing some materials from Bubbles since Pepe's on holiday, he builds a dance studio. Sanctuary is known for its amazing dancing, so it seems fitting. As soon as he's finished that, however, the crown is plundered into the hands of Queen Gemini Tay. Her decree is for each empire to take a beehive and build it a home. Sausage picks his up, warning Gem ominously about the consequences of the crown. He heads home and builds his new bee and apiary in his farming district. It's a beautiful mix of Sanctuary-style framework and Dawn-inspired windows. The interior is just as beautiful, decorated with hanging bushes and the national flower of Sanctuary, the sunflower. His bee, who's been named Crystal, loves it so much.
Oh, how the crown so quickly changed hands. So the sheriff starts his week with 2 new rules from one King Scott and one Queen Gem. King Scott decreed Jimmy built in Chromia with something representing Temple Town. Our tiny sheriff decided a TNT wagon would best fit the area he was given. However, the crown was taken from Scott and placed on the head of Queen Gem, meaning Jimmy needed to build something new. This time, a greenhouse for some bees the Queen tasks her fellow Empress to take care of. This bright addition with adorable flowers to Temple Town very much pleased the Queen when she visited. After showing off his new bee sanctuary, Jimmy took his chances with Queen Gem to try and take the crown for his own. His yearning for the crown was not enough, as he failed in his attempt to seize power. Instead, the Queen says she will inform Sausage of how Jimmy threatened not just the Queen, but the Queen. When Queen Gem takes a leave from Temple Town, Jimmy notices something new about the Fae area. The Fae has extended toward Temple Town and added Fae food to the menu. Another mysterious element concludes the week. A book from the Fae telling Jimmy they will soon have everything they need.
And we shall end today's video with a bedtime story, I think. Here's the story of just how Gem became queen. The story starts at spawn with Pix, a dodo, and a crown. He declares all his new subjects must provide something for his museum. Gem does this happily, providing a banner of Dawn for his consideration. To get the crown, she has to stay on the good side of the ruler who wears it. Gem's fellow Princess Catherine comes over and the two make a plan together for a princess tea party. It's a good excuse to get everyone into a dress. The food provided from Dawn was lovely, but having all the emperors in the same place is a recipe for disaster. The group plays hide and seek, but Pix ends up in a bit of trouble, losing his crown and also the ability to be solid.
Only killed Ollie. Not sure how that happened. And then the crown got passed on. And Pix also passed on. Not sure how that went down.
The new ruler is Scott, and so to stay close to the crown, she fulfills her duty to this ruler in the form of a beautiful Dawn embassy. Innocently looking for Scott to show him around her new build leads to a wing of the house seemingly dedicated to other people's stuff. This, fortunately enough, includes the crown she's been hoping for, and if it's not on the king's head, then surely it's free for the taking. And that, listeners, is how Jem became queen. Her rule for the server is for them to take care of some bees she plans to provide everybody. Not only do the bees get to expand and be taken care of, it means she can have some of her people around the whole server. Sausage visits the new queen and seems quite happy to follow the rules she imposes. Who needs a king when you have a queen? Or bees? Sausage brings up a good point. The way things are going with the crown passing hands means someone will likely be coming for it sooner or later. This queen doesn't even have a castle, so Jem sets out to rectify that problem on a hill in Dawn inspired by her real-life home, Newfoundland. All queens need a castle, and hopefully time does her well.
And with that, join us next week for more chaos and shenanigans. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and thanks to everyone helping out with the project. Check them all out down below.